Do you want to know the magic words that will make your man absolutely fall in love with you? I'll let you know right now.
Give it to me like.
We're going to talk about something a little bit uncomfortable today. Cheating, the topic of cheating. And if I'm going to talk specifically to the men here. So men, especially if you're in a marriage, if you're a married man, this is for you. Now, this is probably your situation. The situation is you've been giving it all to your spouse. You've given them the best that you got, and they're probably not satisfied with your efforts. They're probably not satisfied with where you are in life. So there are brief moments of reprieve that you have. One, when you have a legitimate excuse to be out of the house. Maybe it's to go grab some groceries where you can finally, have a conversation with your friends while you're on the road to go get some groceries, or a sibling or something, and you actually get some time to yourself. The other could be in the restroom, but maybe there's also this reprieve at work. And at work, somebody seems to notice you, validate your talents, your skills, validate that you're an attractive person. You vibe with them. These conversations seem pretty effortless, and you two just have a vibe. And you haven't been as transparent about your marriage. You've left everything to suggestion, assumption, and mystery. And you see that this person at work that you probably are hanging out with from time to time, chatting it up, there's a little bit of sparks flying there. There's some chemistry. And it's a little confusing to you because for some reason, this feels good to you, to be recognized, to be noticed. Your ego monster is being stroked as they tell you that you're doing a great job, and they see that you're really a high flyer at work, or they compliment you on your tie, or they give you an extra sandwich that they brought with them because you look like you needed, a little snack, and they thought of you. All of that is starting to turn in your stomach and starting to evolve into something that's actually pretty deadly, which is you stepping outside of your marriage and cheating. So let's talk about this. If this sounds like you, if you're in a situation where you have a vibe going on with somebody, either at work or whenever you're outside of your house, because when you're in your house, it's all about your house. It's not like you're, texting somebody back and forth. I'm talking about the situations where you got a vibe with someone, and when you're supposedly in a safe zone, you allow this fledgling spark to get bigger. And the crazy thing is that this spark is leading you down a very dangerous road, but what you think would be a fulfilling road. And so what you're starting to see is why people cheat. And you have two options at this point, because right now you're thinking about how you can build a castle somewhere and finally call for this wondrous butterfly invoking person to come join you in your castle. You're thinking about how you can break away and go to Costa Rica for a weekend and invite them out. You're thinking, how can you spend time with this person outside of work without being a scumbag in your marriage? And there is no way around this. You can't chew gum and walk at the same time. You can't have your cake and your ice cream. You get that out of your mind. You're going to have to make a choice. And so if you're in this situation You're thinking to yourself, man, for some reason, this person, I just vibe with them and things aren't going well in my marriage. So I'm going to keep entertaining this until the other person loses control. And then I have a situation on my hands. But I'm going to keep prodding the bear. I'm going to keep coming off as romantic to this person outside of my marriage until they initiate the mistake. Because I can't let it be me, because then I'm going to violate my covenant. So I'm going to keep prodding and poking gently until they give in. And then now I got a situation on my hands that I happily am going to deal with. So if this is you, pay attention. You have two options. The first option is you're going to confess. You are going to go to her, look her in the eye while she's doing dishes or while you guys are cooking away from the kids. You're going to look her in the eye and tell her straight up, I no longer want to be married to you. I no longer want to be married to you. It's over. If you can do that without feeling any kind of remorse, without feeling anything, without feeling any regret, without having your stomach churn, without it feeling like a knife is going through your back, if you can do this, look her in the eye and say, the marriage is over. I no longer want to be with you. End of discussion. That's your first option. Be a man. You don't want to be with her? Tell her. Quit hiding. Quit masquerading. Quit hiding behind a mask. Quit lying to yourself. Quit living the double life. Come out. Be honest. Be a man and say, I no longer want to be with you. It's over. All right. I'm pretty sure you heard that ringtone, folks. Got the wifenator here and getting her perspective on, how to avoid being in this situation altogether. Let's say you had some magical coffee talks with somebody at work, post endorphins of getting a major project done, and now this snake charmer has come and said some things that really resonated with you, and the butterflies are going on in your stomach. What to do about this?
Yeah, good morning, everybody. Happy Thursday here in Chicago. It's easy to say, I'm going to get my attention from someone else, especially, for women, if we're not getting our attention from our husbands, they're not, commenting on our outfits or, you getting your hair done, your nails done, all those little things, right? And somebody says, oh, I love your hair. I noticed you, colored your hair. You cut it. Your manicure looks really nice. It can feel like someone is giving us attention, and they are giving us attention. But it's really important to remember that, especially if you're married, that covenant that you made, right? Something is broken in the marriage, and it always takes two individuals. You know what? I take that statement back. It doesn't always take two individuals. No. Some people are married to individuals who have some real mental health crises, and the other person is a victim of that. My point is this, is that you can only be true to yourself. Integrity is something that's been lost in our society. People have morals is not a thing anymore. Having a moral compass to say, I'm going to be true to myself. And even though I'm not getting what I need from my husband, I'm still going to stay true, to my vow.
But what are some practicals, right? Because outside of the outliers, right? The polar opposite, the unique situations like you mentioned, just if we can standardize it and you could offer some practicals, what are some things that you can do? Is it okay to accept I'm the work wife statement from somebody at work, or I'm her work husband?
Yeah, okay, practicals. My little humble opinion would be to say, we're so nervous about making other people feel uncomfortable, and boundaries are there for a reason. We just don't eat red lights. Maybe some of you do, but that's a whole other story. I think it's important to set those boundaries. I personally have never said I have a work husband because what that implies, and maybe that is a way to be flirtatious, but I think it's really important to set a standard and to say, hey, that comment makes me uncomfortable. And I enjoy working with you on a professional level, and I'm just going to ask if you no longer refer to me as that. And it's simple. We don't have to be lofty about it. We don't have to be rude about it. It's just really straightforward and stating our likes and our dislikes, specifically when someone's making us uncomfortable.
Okay, and do you think that appearance plays a factor into this? Like how you
Absolutely.
dress at the office? Or is it strictly on men to avert their eyes, as we discussed in an earlier podcast? Um, your take on that?
Yeah, definitely. And we know that women, especially if it's depending on the environment of the office, women like to dress up, whether it's, in heels and skirts and dresses. And it's definitely, we've put a lot of onus on women, like, oh, be careful what you wear. But we know we're not sending that message enough to men. And it's really important to avert your eyes. A woman should be able to dress however she should dress. And again, there should be this protection from her colleagues, from men in society. But we don't see it like that. It feels, even I'm sure my statements can feel very, like, oh, traditional or Neanderthal thinking. So, like we're taking it back in the, primitive stages. And I think it's really important that men do avert their eyes. Women, again, should be able to wear, if they want to wear their 2-inch heels, 3-inch heels, depending on the culture.
Culture, yeah. See
Culture.
that, and that's what I think may need to change. Is that for some reason in corporate America, a woman not wearing heels sometimes is seen as unprofessional, and I think that needs to change. It's like a very highly sexualized office appearance that is deemed as acceptable within the workplace. And then men, we got to wear the penny loafers, shirt and ties. And it's very plain, very not sexual in nature. There's nothing alluring about that. But if you're not wearing a pencil skirt and heels, you're asked to go home and change.
Women feel good in heels. But yeah, a woman should be able to wear some nice flats and a pencil skirt or dress or business suit and still be deemed as professional.
Right, because for men, if we wear shorts or anything that reveals our calf muscles, that seemed as too informal, too laid back as attire. But if a woman wears a skirt and shows off those LA Fitness calves, that's okay to show skin. If I have my taco meat hanging out with a couple buttons undone, I'm going to be seen as being too informal. But if a woman is wearing a very low, right, low, I don't even know what the term is, just wearing a blouse or a shirt that's low and exposing her chest area like mine, that's acceptable.
Had you spoken to me 15, 20 years ago, I might have had a different opinion. But the work, the Holy Spirit has changed my heart and my perspective on things, where I now, view modesty as something that's sexy and powerful, and I don't want unnecessary attention. But that's, there are other women who are extremely insecure in their body image. So any comment, any of that, any kind of attention is going to make them feel good. And I think it's really important as women to say, does clothes make me, does it give me my identity? Right. And we all know we wear things to feel good about ourselves, but are we looking for, it's deeper, especially for men and women. Some people get dressed in the mornings with the idea of getting the attention of XYZ person. And you have to ask yourself, why am I getting dressed? Do I want the attention of someone? Or am I just getting dressed in this really cute outfit because, man, I look good in it?
And that's another good thing to bring up, just jumping off of that and jumping back to the practical side and application. Is it okay to accept the last minute invite to happy hour with your boss, who is a man if you're a woman, and accept it last minute and go hang out because apparently this is what everybody does. But except you're the only one getting the invite. Is it okay to accept that?
Again, we're talking about individuals here, right? If you're listening to this and you're saying you're married, right? If you're single and you want to, accept an invitation from someone, that's your prerogative, right? Do you know the person? To me, everybody's a suspect. We don't have enough time to think about, talk about that. I'm obviously married. So if I was to work with males and somebody was to invite me somewhere, the answer would be a hard, absolutely no. Even when my marriage is in an unhealthy place, my answer is still going to be no. But you have to decide that. Like, people have to decide. If you're listening to this and you get an invitation from a male, from a female, right? Somebody who you deem attractive, because whether we're married or not, we still have eyes, and we still people who are pleasant to the eyes, so to speak, right? They dress nice. They have this smell that's just very inviting, right? Warm. You're like, oh my gosh, I just want to go get, some tacos or whatever, right? A bite to eat. I don't know. People love tacos. It's individual, and you have to be true to yourself, especially if you're on this call and you profess Christ as your savior. It's simple. The answer is a straight up no. You are married, and our covenant, we have made so many excuses. My husband isn't doing this. My wife isn't doing this. I'm not meeting their needs. They're not meeting my needs. And ultimately, when we make a covenant, our covenant is with Christ. So an invitation here, a compliment there. We don't need any of that to satisfy us.
Right. It all begins to chisel away your guard until it's completely down.
Of course. And then it all starts with an excuse. Oh, it's just XYZ. It's just that. And the minute we have to start, you find yourself saying, oh, it was just a little simple conversation. It was just a harmless. The minute we use the word harmless, we already know that it's already been done. Because affairs, no one ever has to get naked and sleep with someone. Affairs start emotionally and mentally, because when we start dating someone, we know that the needs that are being met are emotionally and mentally. That person gives me butterflies, and that's how it starts.
The wifenator speaks profoundly, and I hope you haven't forgotten that you have two options. If you're a man in this situation, the first option was to look her in the eye and say it's over. Your second option is to take her on the craziest random excursion experience that you can think of. Literally, next week, take her to Aruba. Take her on a crazy random excursion trip of a lifetime to Aruba, to Jamaica, to Costa Rica, whatever crazy place you can think of. Go to whatever website, bookings.com, Airbnb, whatever it is, and plan it out and make it happen. Because here's what you're getting ready to do. The antithesis of this, right? The inverse situation that will happen is if you partake in this random rendezvous with the person who's giving you the coffee talk butterflies, you're spending money, time, emotion on this random person who hasn't proven herself worthy to receive your attention, your love, your adornment. They haven't earned it. They haven't proven themselves. But your spouse has been with your sloppy butt for years, dealing with your crap day in and day out. And the reward for this random person who only sees you at work is they get all your kindness and attention and love and the random excursions and They get all of that. They get your funds, your money, your planning, your heart, and all they do is make you laugh during a coffee talk. That's absolutely absurd. So take that absurdness and apply it to the person who's taking care of your 8, 9 kids, because you're getting ready to blow it all up, have a costly divorce, hand over all this money. You might as well spend it having a great time with the person who has earned your time and proven themselves. Yeah, it's not perfect, but those are your 2 options if you want to be a man and not a coward. You want to take this random person on some excursion somewhere, some secret trip. Take your wife on a secret trip. Take out your MasterCard, take out your American Express, and go pay for a trip to the Dominican Republic and call it a day. And do it now. Spontaneous. Tell her to call off work. Tell her to call in sick, because we're going to freaking Aruba. Those are your 2 options. The magic words. Ladies, this is for you. If you want your man to instantly fall in love with you again, to instantly look at you as if you were Cinderella on ballroom night, this is what you're going to say to him. You're going to look him in the eye. That's been my little thing today. Look him in the eye. Look him in the eye. Look him in the eye with those sultry eyes, right? And say, I trust you. I will follow you. Tell me what you want to eat. Now get your ASS out there and make us rich. Ladies, I'm telling you right now, if you tell your man that statement, everything will stop. Time will stop. And you will reprogram him to be only yours. All of his love, affection, emotion, the whole universe stops if you say that to him. I'll repeat it. Take out your pen, your notepad, and listen carefully, okay? Put on your little earbuds, whatever you got, turn up the volume. This is what you're going to say to him. I trust you. I will follow you. Tell me what you want to eat. Now get your double ASS, you know what that spells, out there and make us rich. Do you know what that's going to do to him? Why does this statement work? It works because men feel loved when you express your loyalty. When you say, I trust you and I will follow you, that statement fills our cup so fast. And I'm not even a big words of affirmation person, because I've had to overcome a lot of adversity and a lot of people who said I wouldn't do anything or I wouldn't become very good at all. And that's what men do. We don't praise each other when we needed to be praised. We praise people after they've already failed. Quick example of this is, let's say you were in sports. You quit eventually because you realized you didn't have some of the natural innate abilities and God-given height and strength as some other people, so you gave up. And then somebody from your old town says, man, you were so good. You were such a good player. And then you remember being around them at that time, and they never told you that. They actually put you down, told you that you weren't that good. That's what happens with men. But as a woman, if you sit there and say, I trust you, I will follow you, that is words of affirmation for us that fills our tank. The tank is full when you say that, because you're giving us a license to do whatever it takes to make life better, and you're trusting us with that process. That is the ultimate phrase or words of affirmation right there. Now tell me what you want to eat. The last part of this. You get to a man's heart through his stomach. You come in and make him a bomb meal and he wasn't expecting it. And then you ask him what he wants. That never happens. We're always the one who's asking, hey, what do you want? What do you want? Or we got to figure it out for you or find some kind of mind trick to actually extract what you want to eat. But if you tell him, what do you want to eat? I'm going to make this food. I'm going to make you a plate right now. I trust you. I will follow you. It's over. It's over. And then you say, now get your ASS out there and go make us rich. Oh, because men, we feel at our best. We feel confident when we know we're bringing in the bacon. And rich is a very relative, subjective term. That could mean, you guys finally making 60 grand a year because you have your lifestyle down to a point where you only live off of 30 grand a year. So that's all subjective and relative to what your lifestyle goals are. But that statement, go out there, and it's a little audacious and kind of rough. It's like getting scratched on the back during your marital lovemaking. It's a little rigorous, right? But it is an emphatic statement that will ignite a man's confidence. When his woman sits there and says, go out there, go out into the world and make us rich. That's it. You're the only woman he will ever look at ever again. I promise. If this doesn't happen, ladies, if you do this and your man doesn't look at you as if you've lost your mind, I will go ahead and pay for you to go to Aruba. If this doesn't happen, this is 100% Aruba guarantee right here. If this doesn't work, you can send back the advice and I'll send you guys to Aruba if this doesn't work. If your income doesn't go up and you keep saying this stuff to him for the next 90 days and your income doesn't go up, I'll send you to Aruba.
Give it to me like